everybody. Good day. My name is Aman. I'm an investment coach here at Sage Investors. Welcome to another edition of Stock Talk, where we talk all things investing. Today I want to talk a little bit about an article I read just recently talking about Robo Advisers, and you're hearing a lot of terms about Robo Advisers, these online algorithm-based portfolio managers that essentially you just fill out a questionnaire, deposit some money, and they will manage and allocate and invest your money in a suitable array of ETFs that will that are more in line with your financial goals and your risk tolerance. And they're getting a lot of popularity, getting really targeted to the younger crowd, the tech-savvy millennial crowd, and we're hearing tons of things about it. And recently I came across an article, and you're hearing seeing a lot of these, talking about evaluating and sort of like their rating of various robo-advisor services out there that are just sprouting out there. And it was kind of a good article, a good piece in terms of provide a nice synopsis of the various different types of robo-advisors out there, and gave me a good spec of the various features that they offer. And this particular article, it was in the Nerd Wallet website, and did a pretty good job and talked about using various different criteria to evaluate the best of the best out there. For example, using terms like minimum deposit amount, the level of human interaction you could expect with a typical robo-advisor, the ease of use, the ease of account setup, the fact you can set up your account, can you set up your account with a phone, the whole experience, the fun factor, the new factor of this type of service. It was factored into the analysis, and it was good. It was a good overview from that perspective. But I found, and this is one of my things with these robo-advisor services right now, and I think it's just totally getting overlooked, and it's the one criteria that we just totally doesn't seem to be given any element of talk to is performance. So remember, why do we invest? And I say this a lot of times to a lot of people that I work with. Why do you invest? Why do we put our money into mutual funds or ETFs or stocks or bonds? We invest to make money. And it's funny that since these robo-advisor services out there, you will not hear anything about performance. Whether this type of model or investing in a portfolio in this kind of format actually makes money. And the reality is this type of business model is so new, there's no history behind it. And so just everything you're hearing about it right now is just really the marketing aspect of it. And there's really so there's a lot of style going into the business model in terms of account setups and ease of use, and the fact you can track your portfolio on your phone like 24/7. It's great, but do you make money out of this? And how are these portfolios management in terms of churn rate? Do these type of portfolios, how often do they turn over their portfolios? Like, one of the biggest complaints about traditional financial management is that portfolio managers and financial planners and advisors are constantly turning over portfolios so they can generate commissions. And one of the prime business model components of the robo-advisor model is that they don't do that, and because it's all about return. But the reality is we don't know if any of these things make return. I keep constantly banging my head, and nobody really wants to listen to me about it. And so it's a major issue. You don't want to work hard and save up all your money and put it into something, and you're going to lose money, or you're not going to get any money, or you're not going to get any traction with it. So performance, folks, it's performance that's ultimately going to determine whether this type of model is going to work. Now, I've kind of taken a step forward with respect to kind of pursuing this value-added component of performance. And if you haven't been following on my website, a year ago I took a chunk of cash. I took about $5,000 of my own money, and I opened up an account with a robo-advisor up here in Canada, and went through that process of starting the account and tracking and seeing, okay, do these things make money? And I've been blogging about it, so if you go to my website on sageinvestors.ca, you can find my various blog posts that I've commented on throughout the past year on my experience with Robo-Advisor, all the way from literally setting up an account to performance. And it's like 1 year ago I started that account, and I'm just in the process of finishing up an article on just recapping the year and sort of my initial takes on it. My thoughts on it. So, stay tuned for that. It's coming out very shortly. And I can share some of that, give you some of that experience. And I think a lot of good things are about the Robo Advisor service is the ease of setup. The back office element is very seamless, and it's very well well thought out and designed, and it's not hard to set up an account. Again, it's performance, and as you'll see in my blog post that I'll be posting, that the performance just so far hasn't been there. And it's, to be fair, 1 year does not make, I don't want to pronounce judgment on the model after 1 year, given the fact that the market's stocks have been pretty much down most of last year, and it's been a tough year for the market, so you can't just pronounce judgment on, you need at least good 3 to 5 years to really get an overall sense of whether this type of model, this type of style of management will work. So, we gotta stay tuned. So, but I've fully put my skin in the game to try and answer that fundamental question: do these companies make money for investors? The other side I want to talk about also is this whole concept of, I've seen also a lot of articles about robo-advisors, and they are written by a lot of personal finance bloggers out there who offer their take and their assessment of various different specific companies out there, and which is great. But I think one of the things I try to do when I coach people is I always make people, when they're consuming information, understand who the players are and what underlying agendas are behind them. And I've noticed that some of the bloggers that I see out there now are kind of, and they're upfront with it, which is awesome, is that they are sponsored. They're essentially getting paid by some of these companies to talk about them. And so are you going to get a full out honest assessment of some of these robo-advisor companies? Maybe yes, maybe no, but the fact that you have that kind of sponsored aspect of it is, you have to take it a little bit of an arm's length viewpoint of it. So it's something I want people to be aware of, as you're seeing a lot of info, a lot of articles and content being consumed about, produced about robo-advisors. Understand who the players are and what their ultimate agendas are. And it's all good being a product spokesman for some of these places. That's great. But again, understand who the players are and what the agendas are. So I just found it interesting. Again, I might be chiming in on this robo-advisor stuff a lot more here. So I might be sounding like a broken record with respect to this whole disclosure aspect and the whole performance aspect of these type models. So I just want to throw that out there. You'll probably hear me talk about it a little bit more, and it's just something you really need to be aware of if you're thinking or seriously considering adopting utilizing these robo services. That's pretty much all I got. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask me about anything about the stock market, the market as a whole, feel free to give me a shout. You can go to my Twitter account @SageInvestors and DM me, and be happy to speak to anything you want to talk about. Or you can go to my website, www.sageinvestors.ca, and hit me with an email or a comment, and I'll be more than happy to respond and chat more about all things stocks. So this has been another edition of Stock Talk. My name is Aman of Sage Investors, and we'll catch you again.